Folks, it's RJ Young. I am not on step milk. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. So it's college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, I'm going to instantly react to the college football playoff rankings for week 14 in what is looking like a much different week than what we thought was going to be on Sunday when the Associated Press rankings came out, as Ohio State, Michigan has been canceled. Tulsa versus Cincinnati has also been canceled. Clemson and Notre Dame have a bye week given to them by the ACC. Right now, Alabama and Florida are still scheduled to play football, but we'll see about that. LSU is coming apart with the whole Eric Gilbert thing, but I'm also interested to see where Coastal Carolina ends up in this thing. I made a video for Fox Sports where I argued that Coastal Carolina is a top 10 team after defeating BYU in Conway, South Carolina on Saturday in what was perhaps the best game of the weekend, if not the best game of the season. Not just because it was two undefeated teams playing in December, but because the way that it ended was awesome. 1 yard short for BYU after trying to come back when the touchdown would have given them a 1-point victory. Coastal Carolina wins that 22-17, and now we got to talk about the Chanticleers in a very meaningful way. Feels like the American has stacked the deck for Cincinnati to try to get into the playoff. And there's two ways of looking at that, right? There's the Ohio State Big Ten way of looking at that, which is they're our best chance to get into the playoff and we have to protect them at all costs. And then there's what I genuinely think, which is that, look, man, I hate the way that this has gone down. No matter what you think about conspiracy, Tulsa has had that game rescheduled twice and would like nothing more than to have Cincinnati at their house like they're supposed to as the schedule came out and hand them an L. They have what I believe is the best defensive player and best linebacker in the country in Zaven Collins. And Tulsa's just been extremely fun to watch this year. If anybody can hand Cincinnati an L, it's going to be the Golden Hurricane. But Cincinnati has an opportunity to be 9-0 and perhaps sneak into the playoff. Texas A&M wants a shot at Ohio State. They won't get one. Texas A&M is also a one-loss team, and we're not here to cape for one-loss teams. That's not what we do. Winning matters. Until we get a 16-team playoff, which is what I have told y'all we need to get from the jump, you need to start taking a look at the teams that have zeros in the loss column and not the ones that have ones in the loss column to try to tell me what you think about a team, because that's garbage. I hate that. The purists among us want to talk about college football for every game mattering until they lose a game that, mattered, because they all matter. And that's one of the reasons why I've always been saying, let's go 16, because everybody that should get in would get in. That means you get Coastal Carolina versus Alabama if that's what the seeding is. That means you get Notre Dame versus perhaps even two-loss Georgia for those of y'all that want to get them in there. Perhaps even Tulsa can sneak in there with a win against Cincinnati and be a one-loss team that has an opportunity to play against a Clemson. And on it goes, right? I think that making college football into the people's sport rather than the rich elitist sport is what we need to do. And the reason that we're pushing for this, or I am, is because the money has outgrown the sport right now. Like, it wasn't that long ago when we were talking about the University of Oklahoma suing the NCAA for the right to play on national television more than twice a year. As a matter of fact, if you're an Ohio State or a Michigan fan listening to this or watching this live, you also understand that in Coach Schembechler's day, there were only 2 games that were on television because that's all they allowed you to do in the Big Ten. Everything else was on the radio or you were at the game. And that's one of the reasons that the culture of being at the game and culture of listening to the radio is such a big deal. There are people that still to this day turn off the national broadcast announcers and try to sync up to the radio because they really trust that voice a little bit more than they do the guys that only pop in their living room once or twice a year. And that's where we're at right now. I think we need to try to grow this into a for real coast-to-coast national playoff, and that is going to have the best impact and the most impact on the sport going forward as we grow it from $5 billion annually to more than that. And you have more teams like Coastal Carolina have an opportunity to get a place on the map where people can get Ali Farokhmanesh, but nobody's going to say that Kansas isn't going to win the national championship, right? Or for that matter, Kentucky. But you do want to see a Wichita State every now and again get one up on Kansas. It's a lot more fun that way. And if you get beat in this current model, you have no recourse. You are at the mercy of the committee. And I don't want to be at the mercy of a bunch of suits. I think the scoreboard is the selection committee. Hello? That's what we need to be doing. Let the scoreboard figure it out and go from there. As for that, try to get to a few questions here at the end. But as the playoff rankings come out here on the college football playoff ranking show for top 25, we'll see. Kirk is talking. What y'all got? Let me see. Still can't believe LSU is falling apart this bad. You know, probably the worst fall off of a national champion ever. Like, I put this to my buddy Daniel at College Football Nerds, and he's like, yeah, I think it's the worst ever following a national championship. Even Miami and SMU, as he pointed out to me, had a couple of winning seasons after that. SMU went like 10-2 back-to-back years, and then Miami had 5 winning seasons, and then, kind of fell off after that. All right, so at 25, Missouri jumps in there after being unranked at 5-3. Tulsa sticks at 6-1 at 24. North Carolina State is 23. Wow, 8-3. Oklahoma State is still ranked, man, falling 7 spots to 22. And Colorado's in there. Joel Klatt's fighting Colorado at 4-0, number 21. Telling you, man, those zeros ought to matter. Texas at number 20 is 63. I don't get it, man. Louisiana, ULL at number 19, up a spot, 9-1. BYU falls 5 spots to 18. They're 9-1. North Carolina sticks at 17. They're 7-3. Iowa at 16 moves 3 spots. Number 15, USC. All right. We got number 14, Northwestern, 5-1. Coastal Carolina moves up 5 spots to 13, not a top 10 team according to this playoff committee, man. I don't get it with them. Indiana at 6-1 at 12, and then Oklahoma at 7-2 at 11. Put Coastal Carolina in front of both of those teams. Like, what are we doing now? They're gonna have Georgia as a top 10 team again. My goodness, man. Miami's at number 10. They're 8-1. Only losses to at previously number 1 ranked Clemson. Let's go. Give me 9. Give me 8. Give me 7. Give me 6. Give me 5. Give me 4. Give me 3. Give me 2. Give me 1. Let's go. Show Georgia, because we know that's what y'all want. Yes. Georgia's at number 9 as a 2-loss team. What are we doing? What are we doing? Why do we play the games? Why do we play the games? If we're going to rank 2-loss teams in the top 10 when we got undefeated teams left, why do we play the games? Cincinnati is at 8. All right, so now we're going to move Iowa State to 7? They're a 1-loss team. And they lost to a Louisiana that you wouldn't rank higher than 19. What are you doing? Who is in this room? Guys, come on. Come on, man. Like, why? Are we just gonna, why do we even have games played? If we're gonna rank top 10 teams at 2 losses, why do we even mess around with this? Why do we even pretend? Iowa State's coming in at 7, Herbie. Excuse me. Just wait on it. See? 7. Like I said, they ain't gonna put that team in no top 6. 8-2, up 2 spots. They destroyed West Virginia 42-6. They're still a 2-loss team, man. They lost to ULL. What is this Sun Belt just disrespect, man? My goodness. I don't understand. Coastal Carolina's 10-0, Cincinnati's 8-0, but Cincinnati's number 8 and Coastal Carolina's number 13. Why are we doing this? Explain to me why this is happening. Oh, God. A better team right now, man? They're a 2-loss team. Louisiana's only losses to Coastal Carolina. They're undefeated. How are these things not taken into account? My God. Do we have a college football playoff or do we have a name brand playoff? I want an egalitarian system. I want a system where the scoreboard picks who plays who. This is garbage. Why are we doing this? BYU still underrated, but Coastal Carolina is not a top 10 team? Reese! Yeah, let's see the top 6. Put A&M at 6. Oh, Alabama's at 1. All right. Let's go. Come on. We all agree on that. Let's go. Roll them out. Notre Dame at 2. Okay, roll them out. Put Clemson at 3. Go ahead, roll them out. Clemson's at 3. So Ohio State's at 4. We're going to see A&M at 5. We're going to see Florida at 6. Go ahead, give it to me. Yeah, all right, fine. 5-0 Ohio State, who doesn't get to play Michigan, who everybody wants to come out with their knives out for. Like, why are we, what's with the suspense here, man? Florida's at 6, A&M's at 5. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. So, the disrespect from the committee to the Sun Belt is noted. Like, I'm feeling some kind of way about these rankings, dog. I'm feeling some kind of way about how we are choosing to put these teams in position to compete for these bowl games that actually matter in the way of making money for the conferences. Like, the Sun Belt needs to be in this discussion, and they're not. It's bothering me, man. It will never not bother me. There's nothing that Coastal Carolina is going to be able to do between now and December 20th to crack the top 10 if beating an undefeated BYU ain't going to do it. But I'm going to wear my Coastal Carolina National Championship t-shirt. That's what I'm going to do. You're wrong. Emeka's decision day is December 11th, dog. Nah, man. There's nothing that Coastal Carolina gets to do now. It's just, it ain't gonna, no. I want it to happen. This was the best opportunity it was going to happen. They're not going to see a better opponent than what they saw against BYU. And we know now that the committee just doesn't care. They don't care about whether or not you won games or lost games. See Georgia as a top 10 team. They only care about what they see on a roster. I can't with this, man. This feels fraudulent. This feels wrong. We do this every year, and I feel the same about it every year. There's 3 or 4 teams that we all agree are really good, but I would love to see those 3 or 4 teams play against the other undefeated teams that we agree are, undefeated objectively. My goodness, man. Like, both Coastal Carolina and Cincinnati should be top 10 teams, period, with opportunities to pick up the slack if one of those teams with the one loss in front of them were to stumble. And that's in this one that we're talking about now. It's why I want to play off. I want to put to bed who's good and who's not. Not what we think, but what actually is. Otherwise, why are we playing the games? What's the scoreboard for? Bro, like, that's the other part of this. Like, people are going to get upset that Ohio State's going to get in if they only play 6 games or 7 games, right? 6 games in. What I'm interested in is what happens when Colorado or USC gets to 7-0. You going to do the same thing for them? No, because you don't believe in your head that USC is as good as Ohio State. I would love to see USC play Ohio State in a playoff. But we're not going to do that because of the system that we put in place where we have 13 suits telling us who the best teams are as opposed to the teams deciding this on the football field. I'm fired up about this, man. I can't with this. This is getting on my nerves. It's not even that Georgia's trash. It's that Georgia has 2 losses. They play in a powerful conference. So they choose to play in that conference. And now everybody's at the mercy of their schedule, which isn't fair either. And you know what? If you had a schedule full of Western Carolina and Savannah State and Mercer and you went undefeated, cool. You get into the playoff and then you probably get destroyed because the playoff would correct all this. We have wild card games in the NFL. We have divisionals in the NFL. We have conference championships in the NFL. We have a Super Bowl. And you've seen teams go from all the way to the bottom to the top just by making it in. Somebody in the NFC East gets to play in the playoffs. And y'all are arguing with me about a 13-0 Coastal Carolina making the playoff? Get out of here. Dude, why am I feeling like I'm the only person who's sane here? Like, who do I have to talk to? What room do I have to get into to make people understand what the right thing to do here is? There's enough to go around, man. Now we got to talk about whether or not the Big Ten is going to change the rules to put Ohio State into the Big Ten championship game. And then what if the worst case scenario there is Ohio State loses Northwestern? They still would have been the Big Ten East champs because they beat Indiana. Like, that doesn't change anything. So Clemson has to beat Notre Dame and Florida has to beat Alabama for Ohio State not to get into the playoff. I don't think that both of those things are going to happen, but they're both on the table. Like, that's the part about this that sucks for Ohio State is they could win the Big Ten championship and probably secure a spot. If they don't win the Big Ten championship, probably not. Corey Harden says the system is all about money. Yeah. But there's more money to be made by expanding the playoff, dog, because you grow the inventory. You have more games played, more games on television, more television money. That's how that works. You're making more money. Like, I don't understand how we get so many capitalists involved in these conversations that think that there is a finite amount of money to be made. That's not true. You create more opportunities and avenues to make money. Guess what? Everybody makes more money. That's how this thing works. Game theory. Do what's best for yourself and the group. Not what's best for yourself, not what's best for the group. What's best for yourself and the group. See, Doc Winston O'Boogie says a committee is a good way of rigging things in order to make sure the teams that generate the most revenue get selected. Again, you can have all those teams in a playoff situation. But as it stands today, you only have 3 games that matter. When you could have multitudes more. You could have dozens more. Literally. If you had 16 teams, you get 8 games to start, right? Right? Then you get 4 more. Then you get 2 more. Then you get 1 more. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to be made. Why are we not discussing this in the way that I believe economists would discuss this? Gary Barta about to face the firing squad. let the undefeated teams go do this, man. Like the shade to Coastal Carolina on this is ridiculous. Coastal Carolina beat an undefeated top 10 Associated Press team and can't break into the top 10. The committee was asleep, man. The committee sleep at the wheel. It's unconscionable. Unconscionable, this disrespect. Let's see what y'all got. RJ, thoughts on UNC versus Miami for the Orange Bowl? Yeah, no, I'm interested in that game. I'm going to watch that one pretty closely. I think that's, for me, a pick'em. But watching Sam Howell duel with De'Aaron King is going to be one of the highlights of the season for me. I'm actually very excited about that game and the implications that, well, it has for the Orange Bowl, as, you know, probably looking at a situation where both Clemson and Notre Dame get into the playoff. He says, I love my Cyclones, but 7 just seems high. I mean, they're gassing up a Power 5 team. Like, that's the only way I can look at that. Because if Cincinnati was a one-loss team, they'd be ranked where Tulsa is. And Tulsa probably would not be ranked. Like, that's how that works. It's almost as if the committee does not have room in their minds to consider teams outside of the Power 5 except to bolster their 25-person rankings. Get it, man. Let's see what else y'all got in here. So I did my rankings earlier this afternoon, just as the knives were coming out for folks, and I did a top 5 because that's as much as I thought about it. I can think about the 10 and get there, but I didn't feel confident in putting those out there publicly until I gave it some more thought. So my top 5 were Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Coastal Carolina at 4, Cincinnati at 5. We don't rank one-loss teams when there are undefeated winners left. If you don't want to entertain those rankings, that's up to you. That's cool. You can go put on your cape for the losers. The Captain Save a Loser YouTube channel is over there. Here, we talk about winners because winning matters. Because there are only, in a regular year, 12 regular season games. This year, you're lucky to get 7. You're lucky to get that. And if you lost one of those, I'm not putting you in a playoff situation under the rules that we have. My goodness. There is no chance that the Sooners get into the playoffs, Reverend. Not a chance. Pastor, it's not going to happen, man. 2 losses ain't happening. RJ, I hear you and agree, but understand fans are scared of these top teams could lose the likes of the CC. I mean, you don't think that Northern Iowa... Look, man. If you don't want to face an undefeated Coastal Carolina as an Ohio State or as a Clemson, Notre Dame, or Alabama, then I'm going to call you a coward. And I'm going to keep calling you a coward. And I'm going to keep pumping you in the chest until you tell me that you're tired of it and you're going to go get this. Gary Barter watched him a lot of Ohio State this weekend. Reese trying to find out if the committee going to put in an Ohio State without a Big Ten championship. Barta won't project what might happen and we'll just wait and see. All right, dog. Why has anyone seen Fields fun better than? Okay, I don't know what that is. Hey, there's my mom. Do the Power Five teams put in the playoffs and the others don't? Is what's going on? Yeah, mom, pretty much. Conference titles have never been required. No, but they are one of the data points used to determine which teams get in and which teams don't, which is why an undefeated Pac-12 champion is really interesting to me. You know, one of the other things that I notice about these conversations that Reese is having with Gary is rattling off the offensive dudes and the offensive statistics. I wonder how much of the defense actually matters when they're going into those rooms. Hey, RG, what do you think about Iowa State moving up to 7th ahead of Cincinnati? No, I don't like it. I mean, I've said that. Like, the undefeated team should be ranked higher than the teams that have a loss or two losses. Like, in my rankings, I probably got Georgia at like in the 20s, like 25 or something like that. You lost twice. I don't care who you lost to. You lost twice. Don't lose. Man, we got one more week of this, and then we got to start talking about, like, for real selections on December 20th. We're running out of time to get these good teams in. And by good, I mean undefeated. The idea that we could have a one-loss Florida in there because they go and beat a number 1 Alabama and not a number 13 Coastal Carolina, it bothers me. Like, Indiana's getting better odds to get into the playoff than Coastal Carolina. Indiana caught an L. Florida getting better odds. They caught an L. Clemson getting 51% odds. They caught an L. Texas A&M getting better odds. They caught an L. What do we got to do here, man? How do we make these folks see reason? The committee has actually caused me to be mad online. They're undefeated. That's my buddy David Ubbin. Thank you for covering the sport better than anyone. I appreciate that, Zachary. I appreciate the super chat on that, dog. All right. I think that is going to do it for us on this ranking show. You know how much I really enjoy doing it with you guys, and I really do move some stuff around in the schedule to make sure that this gets done. My thanks to Doc Winston O'Boogie for moderating the chat while I'm over here just ranting and raving about these rankings as they come out. Doc is one of those really cool dudes, just in general, having never met the dude, and yet he's on this channel and has been on this channel for a very long time. And those of you that know the Natural Light story, you should know that Doc is the guy that came in the comments and says, yo, RJ, I think you could win this. And then I went and win it, and then I'm in a Super Bowl commercial. It's like that. So, like, that dude is very close to me. And if he hides you in the chat, he's also doing what I ask. So don't spam the comments. Don't use any curse words, any derogatory words. All those things 100% are things he's looking for, and I appreciate that. Let me see. There's Corey Karhoff in the chat, making it through late. Yeah, man, Missouri got ranked off of a win against Arkansas, a barn burner against Arkansas, and yeah, y'all wanted to tell me how Arkansas was trash. Arkansas is good, man. All right, I dig y'all, and I'll see you tomorrow. Doses. Yeah, man, Missouri got ranked off of a win against Arkansas, a barn burner against Arkansas.